Now, how about them damn Celtics?
We are back from their episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, April 2nd. It's my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Grace. All that in the pregame show for not saying that. It's also weird. Celtics lose to the Heat, 124-103. Loss to Miami. First game back from a dominant 6-game road trip. And they fall flat. That's kind of been the story of the season, falling flat on these first games back after long road trips. It's a tough game. We'll talk about everything. The Heat just made all their shots, played well, and the Celtics kind of just looked like they were really tired after a 6-game road trip. And that's not an excuse. Like you can't lose games like that, but at the same time, they're pretty locked into the second seed at this point. Like it's a game that quite literally does not matter in the grand scheme of things. But that doesn't change the fact that the Celtics played like crap.
They did not play well. They had stretches where they played well. They had stretches where the crowd was into it, and you're like, oh my God, they're going to come back from 20 points down, and they're going to just run through the Heat just like everyone thought they would. And then they all of a sudden would give up like 3 baskets in a row, and you look up, and they're all of a sudden down 9, 10, 11 again, and the energy's flat again. There were just really strange stretches in this game offensively where you're looking out there and, like, for example, and it wasn't his fault, there was a possession in the second quarter as the Celtics were fucking dying, and the play was Derek White dribbles for 15 seconds and then has to fire up a 3. Like, he literally had the ball in one spot dribbling. Whatever was supposed to happen off the ball didn't work out. Nobody got open, whatever happened, and there was no ball movement whatsoever on that possession. And then there were other stretches in this game where you have the play when Derek White strips Bam, they come down, they swing the ball around, everybody touches it. It felt like 3 times before I think Peyton ended up making the shot in the corner. It was just sometimes you got good Celtics, sometimes you got bad Celtics. Bad Celtics, you want to talk about bad Celtics for today? Tatum, not good. 4 of 17.
Tatum, not good.
Just not his night. He was getting frustrated with the officials. Like, it was almost like a vintage Tatum game where Tyler Ford was in his head and he was upset and he got a technical and he clapped at him and he was 4 of 17 from the field. He still passed the ball well, so had 7 assists. Like, he tried his best. He had a stretch there where he was kind of hot. It wasn't enough. It was just a weird game. I'm sure we'll talk about many things, but they didn't have it today. And like you said, if the Celtics go away and they play well and then they come home, don't buy tickets. Don't go to that home game because they're not going to win.
Yes. It didn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things. And they were bad both ways. They assembled the dog shit ref Avengers for this game, though. My God. These are 3 of the worst, like, tech prone refs in the world. You've got Tyler Ford, who's like the king. You've got Jason Goebel, who is annoying, and you got Evan Scott, who is infamous for giving Kemba his like first ejection ever. Like, these guys sucked, and they were not good refs in this game. It went both ways, so it like didn't impact the fact that the Celtics lost because they were giving the Heat shit calls too. They sucked. It was bad. Regardless, Tatum wasn't very good. This felt like a night where he chucked up a few too many threes, but at the same time, it felt like some of them went up because the Celtics offense just wasn't flowing at all. So maybe he was desperately trying to make something happen, but he did not have a good game. It wasn't a good Tatum night at all. I'd be curious to see how many of the threes the Celtics took and missed were good looks that they just missed, because they did feel like there were quite a few of those that probably should have gone in but didn't. Jaylen is just so clearly playing hurt. He put up fine stats in this game. He had 24, 9 and 4 on 10 to 22, 6. Like, he was fine. He was pretty good.
He led them back in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden they weren't back anymore.
he did, but he was also the reason that they couldn't complete the comeback because there were 2 specific plays in the third quarter.
Yes,
where and credit him, like 100% led that comeback. Him and that lineup with Neemias.
I was impressed.
He was great, right? He was getting to his spots. He was hitting shots, but then it was, oh my God, we have a momentum. Crowd is here. Turn around, jumper, just ridiculous shot. Heat come down, hit a 3. 3 possessions later, they're back. Jaylen gets them back. They're like fully in it again. Goes down, takes another bad shot, and the Heat get an alley-oop in transition. Like, they were 2 like soul-crushing, comeback-killing plays. But that shouldn't take away from the fact that he did look effective, despite the fact that he is so very painfully clearly hurt. Like he is not playing with the right thing. And you shake your head, and I agree. But like he sat out last game. Like could he just continue to sit out? Yes, but
Yeah.
listen. I stand on this. Like no one knows his body better than him and the training staff, right? And Joe Mazzulla said it after the game today. He said, we're going to listen to him and whatever he wants and whatever he feels is best for his body, we're going to do. And as much as it's so easy to sit here on the sidelines and say the best thing is for him to set out. What if it's not? What if the best thing is for him to continue to get used to this? What if this is something where he's going to have surgery on it this summer, and if he can't have it now or else he'll miss the playoffs. So all he can do is get used to playing with the pain. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that is what happening. Like, that is not me reporting. Obviously, I don't know. But it's so easy to sit here and say, just sit out. That's going to solve all the problems. Because it probably, like, we don't know it will. So if he thinks the best thing for him is to play through it and try to get used to playing with the pain, which is kind of what he hinted at after the game, all we can do is trust that's the right decision. But it's unfortunate because we don't know what the deal is, and we won't. So we're just left to speculate.
It's an imperfect science. Neither one of us are doctors. But
I would hazard my year and a half of nursing school makes me kind of an expert on the subject. But...
Well, I'm Dr. Jason.
Fuck.
I don't know. I think your point about like if he needs surgery, like what are you gonna do, like is valid.
We just don't know.
At the same time, I don't know if I've ever heard of an injury that doesn't heal somewhat if you rest.
It's not even like a healing thing because, like, yeah, it could heal if it rests, but what if the only way for him to get used to it for the playoffs is to play on it now, right? Like, what if the best thing for him is to play and get used to the playing with the pain in these games that literally don't matter, so he will be able to play through it in the playoffs. And again, maybe that's unlikely. Like, I don't actually know. I'm just trying to speculate because it's not like he hasn't sat at all. He sat the last game, like clearly trying, okay, let's give it a rest and like let's try again now. But like
keep sitting.
I
don't care if you play against Miami today.
But to me, it looks like it is. I sat this game. He sat a stretch of games, and what if he was like, okay, it's literally not any better. I'm just gonna try to play it again. And he's like, okay, that didn't work. Let me sit again. And he's like, okay, it's not any better. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if he's just going through the cycle of I'm sitting all these games, it's not helping, so let me just try to continue to get used to playing on it. And again, like I don't know, but like that's all we can do is speculate at this point.
Well, on a more positive note, I thought Jaylen was really good. I mean, he made the moments where you were like, damn it, Jaylen, were mental things. It wasn't like, oh, wow, Jaylen, like you didn't have the burst you needed there. Like the moment you mentioned was Celtics cut the game to 2 or they cut it to 5, and Jaylen just pulls up for 3 in transition and misses after shooting 25% from 3 in March, the entire month. And then, like you said, they get an alley-oop on the other end. And then there's a timeout. And then the very next possession, the Celtics end up with a very contested Derek White 3, which almost gets a pass because you just expect them to make it because it's the fourth quarter. But it was just like back-to-back, not great shots. But overall, like I was very intrigued by the success that Jaylen and the boys had because typically that doesn't happen. Usually it's just like weather the storm until Tatum gets back. Today they made legitimate progress. I was happy with Jaylen. I looked through and saw what he had to say after the game, and he mentioned like the 65 game rule isn't why he's out there, which is like somewhat like good, I guess. Like I think it would piss me off if it was. I still think it might be. I also don't think for what it's worth, like I Jaylen plays 65 games. He doesn't play 65 games. I still don't know if he's going to make all NBA. Like he's had a down season. Like we've seen it. We've been here. And part of that is because he's playing hurt. Like I really like Jaylen. I think Jaylen might be one of my favorite personalities on the team. I want him to succeed. He has not been himself. He every single season comes back like better. And the Celtics pushed him this year to try and be more a distributor, try and be more comfortable playmaking. There are growing pains with that. There have been legitimate injury pains that have hindered him all season too. and it just hasn't resulted in the best type of play. Kind of saw him get back to what he was doing last season today, and that was good. Like, he had those bucket-getting moments. Just, I guess we have to watch down the stretch here because he's not going to sit out against the Durantless Suns and the Wizards and the Hornets.
Yeah. Speaking of getting back to normal, we're back to normal on the Prize Picks. We still are not very good, but you should use Prize Picks. It's the best place to get real money sports action this basketball season. The playoffs are right around the corner. Over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Springtime is here. Baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks lineups, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 1,000x your cash today. It's available in more than 30 states. California, Texas, Georgia, and right here in Massachusetts. You can also combine from different sports. So if you're looking at basketball, you're a Celtics fan, you combine that with some Red Sox picks as well. Sam and I back in the L column for our Prize Picks. We do Prize Picks every single pregame. We have not had the best season so far, but regardless, we'll be right back at it the next game. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Back to this game, which is the line I say after every ad read. Tatum good. Brown good, Tatum bad is where I was going with that. Really good Luke Kornet. Luke Kornet was like the only good player, it felt like, for a lot of this game, or the early portions of this game at least.
Yes.
He had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He had no defensive rebounds, which I didn't realize till looking at the
Only
box right
positive
now.
plus minus?
Yep. He only had offensive rebounds, but he had 6 of them. 7 of 9 from the field. The pick and roll continues to be just like the nastiest play the Celtics have in their arsenal. It is automatic. Like, it's automatic points. I do wonder. No, I think that's silly. I was gonna say, like, I wonder if it is almost like taking away, like, they're okay giving that up because it's just 2 points to the Celtics 3-point offense, but it doesn't matter because it's just so efficient. So I don't think that's relevant. Yeah, exactly. As I was saying it, I realized it didn't make sense. Shout out Luke Kornet, though. This dude is fucking awesome, and he continues to be awesome. And I asked Joe and Jaylen about it after the game. They were both like, yeah, he like unlocks a lot of stuff for us offensively. His screening's great. Joe talked about how we worked on it this summer. He goes, like, he was always good at it, but now he's like elite at it. And so the first 8 points of the game were just fucking Luke Kornet pick and roll with Tatum and Derek White. So shout out.
Yeah, the first quarter was like Luke Kornet is a problem. Is the whole quarter. It's just him making layups and stuff. And we picked him in Prize Picks, and I was texting Jack. I was like, this is free. And then Alec Burks made his field goals required, and I thought we were going to start a win streak, and we didn't. Yeah, Luke gets a pass, only box score positive plus minus, which in a loss I think says something. His usage in this game was a little bit weird, though, because he picked up 3 fouls and then didn't start the second half. And it was just like, why? Why not? He was the most fun part of that whole half. When he wasn't in the game, they weren't playing well. I actually want to talk about the second half. More specifically, when the Celtics were trying to come back in this game and they were there, they got beat by Kyle Anderson. And I can't believe we're 14 minutes in and I'm just bringing up that they got beat by Kyle Anderson. I guess, like, this is what happens to me when I don't really care if they win or lose. Like, if this was a playoff game, I probably would have came in hot. But like, every year inbred. I mean, we said it on the pregame, not to divert off Kyle Anderson because I'm going to go back to it. I said on the pregame, I was like, pick out which heat culture 3D printed inbred guy is going to have a game. And the answer was actually all of them. Alec Burks, 4 of 5. Pell Larson, 4 of 9 for 16 points. Highsmith always seems to play pretty well against the Celtics. Davion Mitchell has been really good since he got to Miami, but was impactful in this game. And then Kyle Anderson is Mr. Get on my back in the fourth quarter and is just cooking. And Jack, would you like to know why he was cooking if you don't know already? It's because for some reason the Celtics insisted on having Neemias Queta guard him every time down the floor. Like, that was the pickup. It wasn't like you can watch basketball games and be like, damn, like, Luke's getting killed in the drop. But when the team, by the way, Kella Ware was on the floor. When the team is willingly being like, all right, Neemi, good luck. Possession after possession after possession after possession. It's like, what is happening? I get that this game doesn't matter, and Joe is probably like kind of experimenting and see what's going on, but like, I don't know. Figure something out. If I can see it from my couch, they can see it.
Listen, you're 100% right. I'll start with that. 1,000% mess. Just a disaster of a defensive gameplay. However, if I asked you, if you like before the game, before any of this happened, if I asked you, you can either live with Kyle Anderson ISOs for the entire fourth quarter or allow the Heat to run their normal offense, what would you pick? Just before any of this happened, what would you pick? And again,
So,
I am not like, this is not me saying they couldn't have adjusted. They should have adjusted. They absolutely should have adjusted. But at one, like, this feels like a crack addict. Like, surely he can't make another one. Like, surely Kyle Anderson isn't gonna fucking do it again.
no, it
like,
doesn't sound like a
he
crack
can't do it
addict. It
again.
sounds like a gambling addict, which
Sure,
which
that's
is
a better
essentially
comparison.
what
Yes.
they did.
I gotta
that
hit
was
the
the
next time,
thing.
right? I gotta hit the next time. But like, listen, Kyle Anderson. maybe this was Joe realizing that this game didn't matter. And he was like, Nemi, if you're getting cooked by Kyle Anderson, you have no fucking hope. Figure it out, bro. And he didn't.
I mean,
just didn't.
Miami's offensive rating over the last 15 is 113.2, which is 22nd in the league. So, like, their regular offense isn't great. Now, if you told me before the game, Sam, would the 113.2 get better or worse if Kyle Anderson was the focal point? I would say worse. But there does come a point, like, if you said, hey,
Exactly.
Sam,
I
you're
know.
going to be the focal point of the offense, but you're getting buckets. Should they adjust you? I would say, yeah, they probably should. That's kind of how the game works. Another, like, just head scratching thing about the defense in this fourth quarter was the double teams. You're double teaming Davion Mitchell off a handoff, and Bam is getting free rolls to the free throw lines where he can make a decision or score. Like, the game is essentially on the line, and you're blitzing Davion Mitchell. What? And you're leaving Bam. Bam's the only guy on this team outside of Tyler Hero that's ever really showed you he can play. That I'm just palms up after that, and I can't even imagine if I was actually upset about this. I was just like, "What?"
I don't know. You know what you don't have to get upset about is Game Time. It's the best place for all your ticketing needs. Best place for all your ticketing needs this baseball season and throughout the playoffs for basketball. All events as well. You can get it for concerts, comedy shows. We went to comedy show in Vegas last year, and Game Time was an easy choice.
I think about that show often, actually, every time I shave.
It's a good show. It's a good show. Shout out Game Time. Let me pull up Game Time on the screen on YouTube here so you can see some of the features. For the audio listeners, I will explain as well. But let's check out this this Red Sox game coming up real quick. My favorite part about Game Time is you can see the exact view from your seat, so you can click on different seats, different ticketing options throughout the venue, and you can see exactly what you will see from where you're choosing to buy your seat. As you can see here, the star here that's highlighted means it's the super deal. It's the best bang for your buck in the entire venue. There's usually a fire emblem too. I don't know if I can find it in this exact thing, but the fire emblem is the cheapest price. So you can see that as well. You can toggle on and off the settings to make sure you're seeing the fees in the price when you're purchasing as well, so you don't get surprised at checkout with any hidden fees. But Game Time is the best place for all your ticketing needs this season. Lowest price guarantee. Your Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference as well. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Listen, man. We need to have a chat. And Rui, I need you to put some earplugs in. I need you to stop watching. I'm Rui, I love you. Neemias Queta was so bad. Listen,
I noticed he was bad. Outside of what I just said,
that I turned to Turpin. I was like, is he going to be on the team next year? Like, that's how bad he's been this season. That's how not with it he's been for a lot of this season. He's on a non-guaranteed contract next season. He's got 2 years left on his deal, but next year's non-guaranteed. The year after that's a team option, so they can get rid of him whenever they want, if they want to, before the next season. He was constantly out of place. He was failing to like get rebounds. There was one play where he did get cooked by like Kyle Anderson, where Kyle Anderson literally dribbled around him, and you just saw him like behind the back, and he was like looking behind him at Kyle Anderson. His nickname is Slow Mo, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
you didn't get to watch the broadcast, but you know Scal how he
was
gets
bad
about Kyle Anderson. Neemias.
What does he hate Kyle Anderson?
No, he loves him. He's always like slow mo this, slow mo that. He like always is talking about it. If I'm watching this game and I'm watching the offense, and you're running either handoffs with Neemi or plays where he's screening on the wing, Miami does not care. Like, they don't care when Luke Kornet's on the 3-point line, but he gets the ball and like knows what to do with it, or he's looking for the ball. Neemi doesn't look for the ball. So the Celtics are just playing 4-on-5. And Bam is sitting in the paint, and it makes it more difficult. I mean, if I don't want to do it, I don't like on the post game to like go back and watch the film. But in the second quarter, the Celtics only scored 23 points, and they were really poor on offense. And a large part of that was during the Neemi stretch because they didn't have much going. Like the possession I brought up like at the top of the show where Derek White had to dribble the whole time and then just shoot. Bet you Neemi was on the floor. Bet he was. He's just not really useful unless he's into like a catch and finish situation. Even then, like he's not that reliable. Like he had a big basket in this game. He had to end one.
That
he was
third
3
quarter
of 3.
wasn't bad.
Yeah,
or maybe fourth quarter. Like there was a stretch where he wasn't bad with Jaylen, but it's just
as soon as he comes above the free throw line, he's useless. He doesn't screen like Luke does. There was a possession that Scal called out on the broadcast where it was like Neemi didn't get off the screen fast enough, and then Jaylen threw the ball out of bounds because he tried to lead him and he just wasn't there. And Jaylen gets a turnover or whatever, but Scal was trying to explain it was actually Neemi's fault. And like, sure, like that is a real thing, and that's not the kind of thing like I'm noticing. I'm noticing just they don't care if he's out there.
Neemi went up and like apologized to Jaylen. Yeah. He was like, my bad. He's like, my bad.
All right, we can leave him alone
dude,
after you go.
No, not yet. Yeah. It's like he's not even a good rebounder either. And like the stats will tell you otherwise. He's getting beat by all these guys. And it's like I watched like 3 different times in this game where Neemi just like jumped too early for a rebound. Like I was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Yeah, man, it wasn't pretty. We'll see. I don't even know. Outside of that, Derek White was pretty good. I actually think he was. Sorry. Another highlight in this game outside of Kornet. He was a -13, so the plus minus won't tell you that. He had 16 points, 5-11 from the field, 2-7 from 3 is not great, but you felt the 6 assists, you felt the 4 rebounds, the 2 offensive rebounds, the 2 blocks, the steal, the big play in transition where he completely stopped a 2-on-1 fast break. So I thought he was pretty good. It didn't matter too much, but there was that. Peyton Pritchard was pretty solid as well. He had a good scoring night, relatively off the bench. Sam Hauser was okay. I thought he got cooked a little bit too much on defense in this game than you'd want him to. He wasn't holding up as well. And then Shireman was all right in his 16 minutes as well. He had some big garbage time rebounds that were impressive, but outside of that was pretty nothing. Torrey Craig played a lot too. I'm bouncing around. Feel free to cut in any player you want. I'm just sort of like wrapping up the guys we haven't chatted about yet. But Torrey Craig was fine, got a few rebounds, but he was pretty non-impactful relatively. I thought he was okay in his first stretch, but as the game went on, it was pretty like meh.
This felt a lot like how game 2 against Miami felt last year, where, I mean, Boston didn't make any threes. They were 12 of 43. It's not like they didn't shoot the threes like they did in that game, but it was just like everything felt like it was going right for Miami, and the Celtics really couldn't get a break, and when they did, they fucked it up. Like, we keep going back to the stretch where like Jaylen takes the pull-up 3, and Derek White takes a contested 3, and they had a chance to vault themselves back into the game. But like at the same time, like you're sitting there watching Kyle Anderson just cook you. Like, what? I mean, do you expect this to happen every time? It's a shit game. Like even like the guys you mentioned, like Derek White was fine. Like I'm not. This isn't like the beat up Derek White game. He had 4 turnovers, but like I don't know. I didn't notice him beat. I'll never probably watch a game where I'm like Derek's really killing them.
Yeah, we talked about this when we were watching the game, might be the worst entry passer on the team.
A lot of these guys are really bad at that. Greeny always is tweeting about how terrible they are at entry passes,
Yes.
and it's actually pretty
The only
hard.
guys who can really do it is like Tatum's pretty good at it. Peyton's pretty good at it. That might be the list.
Speaking of Peyton, he's set a new standard for himself this year scoring. He was like statistically fine. Like you don't look at this box score and be like, damn it, Pritchard. He just didn't have that little extra thing he usually has where you can almost trust him to be the lead guy. He didn't feel like he had that kind of juice. He actually looked like he might have been a little bit hurt. I know he missed I think it was did he not play in Memphis, or was it the game before that in San Antonio that they sat him out? He missed one of these last games on the road trip. Maybe it was just rest, maybe it wasn't. But he just looked like a little bit off to me. It was definitely San Antonio because Memphis, he had the stretch with Hauser where he passed the ball back and forth 10 times.
It was a hip injury. Left hip flexor tightness was the designation.
Okay, so that sounds like a rest thing. Maybe he's not hurt. Don't listen to me. I'm turning into Scal. He just wasn't himself today. That's kind of why he's in the role he's in. That's why he makes the money he makes. That's why he's not like the starting point guard in this team, aside from them being really deep at that position. It's because like he's not quite there at a consistency level yet. He's fine. If he was a starting point guard on a team, not our team, he would like probably be like play in 8 seed level. Like he's not a bad player. He just doesn't have it every single day. And that's okay. But today was one of the days where he didn't have the fire, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like we said, this game didn't matter at all. JD Davison won G League MVP. We don't have to like really talk about it for long, but very cool that he won it. Didn't play particularly well in this game. In his 5 minutes, he was great in Maine though. In their win over the Go-Go. So shout out to him. Is there anything else you wanted to say, or you wanted to talk about, or do you think we got it?
10-game win streak. Dreams are dead.
Dead.
Joe Mazzulla had a comment after the Memphis game. I think they asked him like why they're so good on the road, and he said we're good everywhere. Not true. Only really good on the road. Yeah, that's it.
Alrighty. Cool. Hopefully the comments thought I was happier today because clearly they want to get rid of me. But thank y'all for tuning in.
I don't get that. Like, can I talk about that for a minute?
No.
Well, I appreciate the person that likes me, but there is no show without Jack. You don't understand.
This is not what I wanted. I was just joking about it with somebody today, and I thought it was fucking funny. So I wanted to just say
there is no show without Jack. Everybody tell Jack you like him
I was happier
Jack
today.
Gets made fun of too much.
Hopefully I was happier today. Hopefully I could appease your viewing and listening pleasures. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to Bout Them Celtics, and all that same thing out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, tell us how much you love Jack. Tell us how upset you are with the team. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell. We're here every single day with new content. Full pods typically drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. I know it's Thursday. We had a weird day today. Didn't get to do the Wednesday pod recording. But we'll be back. Don't worry. You can find us doing game recaps like this one the morning after each game. And then other videos are up on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. We're doing the pregame streams too. We're live a half hour before each game, hanging out with the chat, losing at prize picks again, playing GeoGuessr. It's a lot of fun. Come hang out for all of it. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We actually got a lot of emails this week, so maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow. I'm not sure, but it should be a pretty good mailbag next time we get into it. hbtcpod@gmail.com, again, is the address. You can email, you can find us on socials at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at JacksMoneNBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.